Professor Gabriel Umoh is a professor of agricultural and development economics, and he has research interests in agricultural policy, environmental economics, with emphasis on climate change, production economics, and development economics. He's also the director of the Wetland Center at the University of Uyo in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. So he's very much equipped and qualified to speak on this topic, on the topics that we're going to look at. Apart from that, he's a founder and the chief executive officer of African Human Development Center, which is a non-governmental organization with a mission of promoting the socio-economic and political development of women, children, and vulnerable groups through advocacy, capacity building, and modeling service delivery. You can see that that is something that we believe that is so important. It is now my honor and privilege to welcome Professor Gabriel Umoh to take the floor for the next 15 minutes. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Comrade Umoh Basins. Good to see you. It's a pleasure to be here to share the wealth of experience of the other participants here. Homebev have asked me to speak on the topic freshwater and marine ecosystems, dynamics and benefits. I think the welcome speech by Comrade Bassi has done quite a good deal of what I'm expected to say. Well, generally it is known as, we say, and we know that water is life. And this water could come from different sources and different types. So my concern here is the fresh water and marine ecosystems. It is well known that healthy ecosystems are fundamental to political requirement for sustainable development. So I'm not sure that human beings can live for long without water. And the international organizations, like been said, even national organizations consider issue of water. But our concern is how successful all of us have been in tackling the problem facing these life support systems, the freshwater and marine ecosystems. Freshwater, as we know, is the type that doesn't contain much salts, could be nearly zero in terms of salt content, or not more than 1%. Whereas the marine ecosystem is the salt water. And they accommodate quite a number of life-supporting entities, that is for man's use. And there are lots of classifications we could be seen in my paper. Nigeria, for example, has major rivers and has inland waters. And a lot of activities are taking place, both in the marine and freshwater ecosystems. For the local communities, many of them have their livelihoods from the freshwater ecosystem. So the benefits are numerous. The benefits of freshwater ecosystem and marine water ecosystems are numerous. There are those that come as natural materials, the water surface ground, forest and timber, arable land, food, geological ores and deposits, oil and gas, ecosystems and biodiversity. Food, fisheries, they also act as habitat for a lot of important organisms. Man has also tried to modify these systems for its own use. Transport, infrastructure, tourism, recreation and culture, biodiversity and ecosystem services. Wetlands which is part of the ecosystem that we are considering, are help in a number of ways: medicinal and biomedical products, pollution cleanup, flood control, storm protection, and so on and so forth. Now, the concern we should have as people working in this area is, how have we been relating with these important ecosystems? International organizations like the UN, AU, like the director has said, are focusing on how to sustainably manage the freshwater, about the ocean, which is part of the freshwater and marine ecosystem we are talking about. But how successful are we? The interaction between man and these ecosystems have generated what we want to look at again, the dynamics. There are certain natural occurrences that are peculiar to this ecosystem: the upwelling of the sea and ocean, the downwelling, the violent storm, and the various currents that we have, like Kuroshiwo current, the Oyasho current, the cold Labrador. But those are things that can be considered as given that they occur. But largely, our concern should be about those human-induced changes that occur in this system. We've established the fact that these systems support life. So, but it seems to me that the kind of general situation we have in man relationship to the environment generally is playing out in terms of the freshwater and ecosystem and marine ecosystems. And that of these two ecosystems are even worse, because there seems to be a lack of understanding by the general populace of the need to protect, preserve, and conserve this ecosystem. Where we work, like we are at the University of Umoh, the whole of the coastal communities, most coastal communities have issue of waste disposal. They dispose of their human waste to these water bodies, into these water bodies, therefore polluting this ecosystem, not allowing it to be pristine and serve the purpose that it's supposed to. In the Niger Delta area, over the years, we've witnessed massive pollution of these ecosystems. And this comes with attendant costs. Recently, we noticed deaths of a large quantity of fish. They were observed in the shores of community Delta. Not only that, our activities have shown that while we try to develop infrastructure, while we try to industrialize, our activities are not taking into deep consideration the need to sustain this environment that sustain life. Oil pollution, I've mentioned earlier on, the activities that occur in there. And we seem to be at a crossroad right away. In the university where I belong, there are some researches, but I think that we do not have enough from the science community that had radiated to the communities to solve the problem that we have in the freshwater and marine ecosystems. Up till now, the alien species, Nipa palm, Nipa frutigans, which had disturbed the livelihoods of the coastal people in the Niger Delta area, had not been addressed. Our efforts at the Center for Wetlands and Waste Management Studies recently showed that the communities are yet to find any reasonable use for the NEPA. Yet, NEPA has replaced the native mangroves, which used to be very useful for the fish population and for the livelihoods of the dwellers in the rural communities. So there's the need, therefore, for us to look closely at how we can connect science, get the research centers. We have some research centers in Nigeria, the Nigerian Institute for Oceanography and Marine Research, Lagos, the Freshwater Research Institute, New Busan. We even have a full-fledged faculty of oceanography in the University of Calabar. But I do not know, to the best of my ability, whether the work they are doing is actually bringing the problems that are plaguing the freshwater and the marine ecosystem to the fore for even the common man that is looking for ways of making livelihoods from this ecosystem to be conscious of the fact that whatever he or she is doing, we need to protect, preserve, and conserve this ecosystem. So current trends and statistics seem to show that indeed we are yet to get it right, particularly in developing countries. The developed countries have gone steps further than developing countries. In 2002, I attended a conference in Salzburg conference in Austria, and we're discussing the politics of freshwater. And it was clear to me that they are taking the protection of ecosystem, freshwater and marine ecosystem seriously. While we were flying back, one could notice buffer zones between the water body and the adjoining land. We serve to protect such water bodies, such freshwater bodies and marine. But here in Nigeria and many other developing countries, you see that farming is done straight into the stream. And when that happens, erosion sets in, sheet erosion, from sheet erosion to gully erosion, and then the silting up of the water, and then you don't have such water bodies again to serve the useful purpose that they are supposed to be. Yes, there are a few agencies in Nigeria that are supposed to, for example, that are supposed to assist in the work of protecting and conserving the freshwater and the marine water ecosystem. I know, for example, the river basins that were set up, they had the mandate of managing this kind of system. But for now, they are more into erosion control. We now have the World Bank funded new Nigerian Erosion and Watershed Management Project. But we are yet to really feel the impact. And like I said, the science community, the research centers will need to do more. And of course, the non-state actors. That's why we have to thank Umoh for this opportunity of coming together to talk about this important ecosystem. But the challenge I tend to see with the civil society is that they tend to follow money. Wherever donors put money, we tend to shift towards that direction. Even though we have our local problems, which may not be frontally addressed by the donors' objectives and all that, I think we need to have a rethink. Again, the local knowledge is looked upon by some of these foreign-inspired interventions as not working. Recently, in African Human Development Center, we did a study that has to do with agroecology, kind of agriculture that is environment friendly. And we found out that the rural people's approach to agriculture was, and in some cases are still, very environment friendly in terms of the land preparation, soil tillage, and application of organic matter. What we call innovation in agriculture is actually degrading the environment, organic fertilizer application, pesticide, and all that. So I think in all, there's the need for us to join hands with organizations like Umoh to draw attention of all stakeholders, governments, communities, international agencies, the research communities, to the fact that we need to take greater care of this important ecosystem because of their uses and the need to sustain life. I will stop here, rest my case here. Thank you so very much.